Martin will mute you, and we'll just be asking Martin and Carolyn some questions, and they'll be answering. There'll be some few videos and some photos to see, and then we'll pray at the end. So Ross is just going to introduce the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, all of you, for turning up today. It's only going to be a few words just to say we really appreciate all the support that you give us. This time last year, we were wondering how we were going to cope, and you supporters came up trumps and put us into such a really brilliant position. I don't think any of us would really have known that this was be like this, but it's we are just so privileged, we're so blessed. So I hope you find this morning informative and useful and encouraging, and also maybe inspiring too. So I'll hand over to Gillian. Thank you, Gillian.
Okay, thanks, Ross. Okay, so yeah, Martin and Carolyn, you'll be doing lots of the talking, I'm afraid, this morning, but that's what we want to hear. Can you tell us how many students you have at the minute, and how many of these are boarders, please?
Yeah, certainly. I think, Gillian, for ease of communication between us, I'll answer the questions I'd videoed for you. Yep. And he'll answer the videos he videoed for you, just in case everything goes wrong for our end. So at primary school, we've now got 300 students and 12 teachers, and then none of them are boarding, thank goodness, because that brings a whole new element to caring for children. And then at secondary, we've got 270 students and 52 or 3, it might go up in the next day or two to 53 or 54 for some new students that we're hoping will report. Those are boarders. There's 32, 33 girls and 20 boys. And at secondary, we've got about 16 teachers. So it's a lot bigger than when we started with just the simple 40 students and us two with 3 other teachers. So it's really grown a lot since 2014 when we opened.
Yeah, that's brilliant to hear. And how is it actually going having boarders?
We'll both answer this one. It brings a lot of life and energy and busyness to the school site. There's always people to be seen moving around and doing things, and I enjoy that. I think that's fun. Our kids love having all these bigger brothers and sisters around that they can mingle with every now and then and take part in things with. On the whole, they're fantastic. They're nice kids. They are polite, friendly, chatty, well behaved.
Yeah. Breaking up, Carolyn, now.
Because they're all teenagers.
Carolyn, we can't hear you very well at the minute. You're breaking up.
So we had to learn how to deal with some things that maybe we didn't have to when they were day scholars and they went home, and the parents had to do learning curve for us as well. But on the whole, it's good. Sorry, Gillian?
You were breaking up, but just now you're okay.
I'll try again. Did you hear me talking about how mostly it's really good, but there are challenges that come with having teenagers?
Yeah, we heard that bit.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so
They've gone.
Now we've lost you completely. Yeah. Okay, shall we play the recording of what we got for this answer?
Okay.
While we're waiting for them to come back, this is what Carolyn recorded for us during the week. Want the bit about the borders?
Having boarders at the school, it does add a lot of energy and life, and there's never a quiet moment. There are always knocks on our door, or students out on the field playing sports or helping with chores and doing maintenance and gardening and so on. So there's good sides to having the boarders, but there's also lots of challenges. As you can all imagine, teenagers all come with their own issues, and some are brought from home and some arrive here with the different relationships that have to be worked through living in quite close confinement with each other. So yeah, there have been challenges in terms of behaviour management and counselling students who aren't feeling well, or taking students to the clinic if they're not well physically. We had 8 of the girls at one point tested positive for COVID, so we had to isolate them for 2 weeks, which in a dormitory style environment is very, very difficult. And they found it really tough because they had to spend 2 weeks out of class, not spending any time with their friends, not doing any of the normal activities of school, had to study in one room on their own. They had to eat on their own. They were given one toilet and one shower that they were allowed to use. Their friends were moved into the other end of the sleeping compartments, and they were kept separate. They had to use a separate door. It was really hard. They were very pleased when they tested negative in the end and were able to come out of the solitary confinement as such. So things like that have been tough. And obviously, as staff, we want to do the best we possibly can for other people's children, both academically but also socially and personally and emotionally. So it does add quite a weight onto us as the management and the 2 teachers that live with the girls in the house next door to where the girls' dorms are. But it's not something we'd stop because of those challenges. It's overall, it's a positive thing. And that's really good. But yes, it brings a very different dynamic. One of the things that is sometimes hard is a bit of a rivalry or something, I don't know, between boarders and day scholars. And we have to try to break that down and show them that they're all equal parts of the school and it's just different. All of the kids that come from town also come from different backgrounds.
Okay, we have a video now from some of the girls. Hopefully you can hear it okay. It was taken outside, so it's a bit difficult, but it's a good one to hear.
My name is Natasha. My name is Sarah Mwanza.
And my name is Selfiandi Chueno.
We, the grandchildren of Mr. Martin Simbey and the daughters of Mr. Luanda Mina, are here to present to you a poem entitled Talent. What is a talent? A talent is a special ability, capacity, gift to do something very well. It is also something that one is good at. Myself, can discover my talent by doing various things like practicing, getting to know what people say about me, because they say no one is perfect.
Some of us may not take our talent serious, forgetting that there are some people out there who want to discover their talent, but they do not know how to do it or who to help them. But you have been knowing your talent.
Why waste it? Let me tell you a story about a rich man who had to leave his estate and travel to another country. He entrusted his property in his servants. The talent in this story is a sum of money, but guess how these talents were shared? 5 talents were given to the first servant, 2 talents were given to the second servant, and 1 talent was given to the third servant. But what then did they do to their talents?
The first servant invested what he had, and as twice as he had, so did the second servant. But what a shame to the third servant, who did not do it with his talents, but instead waited for his master to come.
Your talent is a gift. Use it wisely, like the 5 pages of the Bible.
Discover it, develop it, then display your talents.
Okay, that was lovely. I hope you could actually hear what they were saying, but it was lovely to see in the buildings and the general busyness of the school as well in the background. Okay, we're hoping Martin and Carolyn can, well, they're there. Can you hear us again, Martin and Carolyn? Oh, wait, see if they're coming. Hello again, can you hear us? Right, well, we'll carry on with the next one while we're waiting. I asked them about the exam results last year, so we'll play their answer and see if we can get them live in a minute.
Last year we did really well in our exam results again. We were pleased with them, although actually when we looked at them and then analysed them, we would have quite liked to have seen a higher score for certain children, and particularly in the science subjects we seem to have a bit of a problem there. Although it was a particularly weak group doing the pure sciences. But yeah, we scored 100% again for grade 12, the school leavers. One of only 2 schools, I think, in the district. So we actually won an award for that. And then it was like a trophy. And then we also got 100% for our grade 9s again, which was just fantastic. And again, we were I think we were the only school actually with 100% in the district. And we feel like that's a real achievement because we don't select the students. We assess them before they join us to make sure they've got the minimum standard of reading and writing and numeracy skills, but we don't have what is called here a cut-off point, or like a pass mark that they have to get above in order to join our school. So to help all of the students pass from whatever standard they joined us, we feel is a real achievement. So we were very happy with that. And in the grade 9 national ranking of 3,300 odd schools in the country, we were actually number 84. So that made us very happy. For the grade 12s, we haven't had a ranking, so we don't know, but usually we're in the top 70 of the schools in the country for grade 12 as well. So yeah, we're really pleased with how our exam results are coming up, and the students generally seem happy as well, so that's great.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, how well they are doing with those exams. I know schooling isn't just about exams, but it shows just how well, the school is doing and how good a job they're all doing at the school. I think we have another video now. Can you hear us, Martin and Carolyn, clearly? Can we hear you is more the point? Yes, good.
We can hear you, and it might be easier for us if we don't, if we're not on video, but we'll try our best. So we've just tried to connect to a different internet device to see if it's better. So we'll see.
Great. Well, we're just about to show another video before we ask you another question. So.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no sound, so if you want to talk through what the video's about, then that would be great. Can you see?
Oh, okay. I think so. Martin was holding some practical sessions. At the moment, it's a bit like doing coursework. So quite a lot of the subjects have practical elements to them that the students have to do. We have to set questions, they then have to answer them, then we send off their results. And they've actually started doing that for grades 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 12 as well. So what you saw first in the science lab, that was the grade 12s doing a science, biology, I think it was a chemistry practical. This is them doing a chemistry exam, pure chemistry. And then I don't know how many of the photos I sent through you've added in, but even the primary children are doing practicals. So they were outside doing biology transpiration tests. They were in the science lab for secondary doing chemistry. I think it was searching for starch or something. They did cooking for part of their home economics. They were doing electronics with some of our electrical circuits and so on. And I think it's one of the things I wanted to send photos about, because I feel like the students at our school have such wonderful opportunities to do practical learning. And it's one of the things that really makes us stand out from other local schools. We're so fortunate to have these resources and these facilities. But on top of that, they don't just sit in cupboards. The teachers actually use them to allow and enable the children to learn in a practical way, in an exploratory way, through experiences and so on. And that, it just makes me so happy that the children are able to experience those things and do their learning so practically. So yeah, that's what those short videos were showing.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Okay, next question. How how are the staffing levels going, and are there any issues there?
Staffing levels, I think at secondary school we've got 16 in total. Primary, there are
I think 12.
12, so it's not very different. In fact, last time we looked at it, if you discount me and yourself, they're pretty much the same number of teachers that we've got. At primary school, we've appointed 2 teachers who are our lead teachers, and basically they're trying to get some of the responsibilities that Caroline had for the primary school, and they're taking those responsibilities on. And obviously, we are trying to train them up and get them ready to take on full responsibility of the primary school. And I guess we've been doing the same thing with secondary school. With Johnson, Charity, and Victor, who have been our senior.
No. See if they're coming back. Right. Okay, well, let's play what they said earlier, see if it matches up.
So at the moment we have all the teachers that we need, and we're fully staffed, which is fantastic. We did have quite a high turnover in December, January. Some of them came as a bit of a shock and they kind of disappeared without telling us, which was very frustrating and meant a bit of a frantic search for the right members of staff at the beginning of the year. It also means we've got quite a lot of staff training to do, helping teachers to teach in our way and use our methodologies and have our ethos and so on. But sometimes change is good, and I think some of the people that have chosen different pathways and have left, they'd been with us for a while and it was time for them to do something different as well. So on the whole, the change has been a positive thing. I don't think there's been any problems because of that. It's just a bit awkward when you have to make changes from the status quo. And we've been able to give the primary teachers a pay rise, which is really nice. They've had quite a lower salary than the secondary teachers for a long time, but actually this year we've managed to check through budgets and so on and give them a pay rise so that they feel really appreciated for the work they're doing, which is very encouraging.
Okay, you may be thinking of questions yourselves as we go along. Hopefully Martin and Carolyn will be able to get back on later and we can actually ask some of those questions, or maybe some of the trustees will know some of the answers. But we'll keep going through the questions that we had planned with them, obviously the recordings that we made during this week. So I think the next questions were about buildings.
As far as building, we're just about entering into a very busy phase this year of building the boys' boarding facilities, which is going to be a replica of the girls' one that we've done already. So it's going to be a very busy period. We've already started getting materials onto site, a bit slower than I would like, but the materials have started arriving. The builder is in tomorrow, and he should start the preliminary work on it. So we're going to sit down and look at contracts and that kind of thing. So it's the boys' boarding, and obviously we're going to be building the DT classroom block, which is going to help us with space in the school. So it's going to be a very busy period, but exciting. Now that we've seen what we can do with the first boarding facilities, it's exciting to imagine what we're going to end up with at the end of the year.
Okay, yes, so we're, as Ross said earlier, we're so thankful for all the Lord's provision financially for us, so we have been able to get this building work done, the boarding block that is already done, and obviously now thinking about the boarding block for next year. But yes, great thanks to you, and most of all thanks to God for that provision. Okay, the next question I asked them was about the primary school.
So in terms of the primary school, things are really going well there as well, in spite of, again, a couple of teachers leaving and needing a few new ones. It's the first year that we've got the very full cohort that it will be. We go up from baby class right the way through to a grade 7, so it's like having nursery all the way through up to year 6. So yeah, it's good. The grade 7s write an exam at the end of this year in November, so we're preparing them for that, and that seems to be going very well. We're confident that we'll get excellent results, and we're just hoping and praying that they don't all get shipped off to government or national boarding schools that people generally think are the place to be, but that they will see our school, Vinjeru, and secondary school, even if it's boarding or day, as a really the next step, the next obvious step for their child, because we're the ones who've done all the hard work getting to them to a high standard of knowledge and understanding and so on. So we want to see them through, but that's a bit of advertising work we need to do. So I think we're going to go and take them around the boarding facilities so they can see that, maybe give them a taster day, things like that, and try to make them want to come to Vinjeru and hopefully convince their families. But yeah, that's good. The teachers there are doing a really good job, and now probably middle of last year I finally managed to get a couple of my staff to the point where they are leaders there now, and I can pretty much say, I think we need to do this, and they get on and do it. Or they even come and say, I think we need to do this, and they get on and do it. So I feel like that's a massive step forward for the primary section. The two teachers, Boyd and Shaloka, you can thank God for them and their commitment and their hard work and their initiative and the creativity as well. There's a really nice atmosphere in the primary school section staff. People get on, they laugh, they joke, they work hard, they go above and beyond the bare minimum, and it's been very encouraging that side of things. So yeah, you can be thankful about that, and we certainly are.
Ah, great. Are you with us again, Martin and Carolyn?
You've seen the challenges we face, I tell you. But anyway, while we're on, we're here.
Brilliant. Okay, well, our next question is about you and the family. So do you want to update us on just how things are going in the family?
Yeah, I mean, I think we can just say we're really thankful to God.
No, we're not getting it, Carolyn. Sorry. Do you want to try turning your video off, Carolyn, and see if we can get sound only? She's not getting me, is she? Okay, I think we'll play what they said again, shall we? It's not coming. Okay, we will play what they said about the family.
As a family, I think we're doing really well. We're enjoying seeing the kids all grow up, and they have got very big characters, all of them. and are quite fun to be around, if exhausting. They're well and their health is good. We haven't got anything we can complain about, really. I think one of the encouragements has been to be really building our relationships or getting knitted into our local church now. I think for a long time we didn't have somewhere that we really felt we could worship and learn from. The situation here is either very, very charismatic churches that end up having slightly dodgy, or very dodgy doctrine, or very difficult churches where the doctrine might be okay, but there doesn't seem any life or anything. But we've found a nice Baptist church. The pastor and his wife and kids are just lovely. I'm involved with the kids work and kind of into the young teens, youth. Martin leads Bible studies before the church service most week. They have usually the adults have a Bible study while children's ministry happens, and then the main service starts. We don't have time really to get along to the midweek meeting because it's from 5 till 6 on a Thursday and we're usually still working. So that's a bit of a shame. But Ninza and Sophia are part of the youth on a Saturday and they love that. And even if we're away for the weekend or there's any chance for us to be back in time for it or go after it, they really want to. And it's brilliant seeing the way that they want to be part of the church activities. And building a group of friends that are in their age group and are also being brought up as Christians and wanting to follow Christ and so on. So that's really encouraging. That's been a real answer to prayer actually as well, because I think for the first few years out here we really did struggle without having a church, even though we tried so many. Sundays are quite busy now, but it's good. And the church is growing. It's trying to look for elders at the moment. It's always looking at doing outreach and missions, which is a really good focus for a church to have, obviously. And it's very encouraging to be part of that. So that's brilliant.
That's lovely to hear. Hi.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you could hear that. Thank you for playing that video. I hope the pictures were clearer than the ones we could see.
Yeah, lovely photos, Carolyn, of you and the family. Really special. Okay, do you want to try answering the next question live, or do you want us to play it? What do you think?
Try.
We'll try. Okay, I think the next question I asked was, what's the COVID situation like at the moment for you?
The last few months, we've hardly heard anything about COVID because the numbers have been really low and they've stayed low. But of late, the numbers have started creeping up. And I'm told that cases of the Indian variant have been traced here in Zambia. And the numbers have really crept up. Just the other day, we received a circular from the Secretary to the Cabinet addressed to all government departments, telling them that no out-of-province travel is allowed anymore because of the threat of the coronavirus. So it's like we're going back to our version of a lockdown. Because the numbers have started creeping up. I think last week there were, on a daily basis, there were about 100 cases, around 100 cases that were confirmed. When we were having about between 10 to 20 cases, just before that. So the sudden jump has sort of alarmed everyone. So obviously they want to keep the cases low. At school, we are continuing with social distancing. We're continuing with wearing masks all the time. And every time kids change classes, we sanitize their hands. So I think that has helped us quite a lot. Obviously, our borders, because we term them as one big bubble, when they're in the boarding facilities, they don't have to wear the masks. Yeah, so that's I don't know if you
yeah, I think we're still having to be careful with school assemblies and things like that. And we have really encouraged our staff to get the vaccination, but there's a lot of resistance to the vaccination and fear that it will actually bring other problems. So I haven't asked around to find out how many of them got their vaccine over the holiday. We had a 1.5 week holiday. I don't think many did. I think I know of about 4 or 5. We've had our first dose, and we would encourage everyone to and say, don't fear this. People all across the UK have had it, and only a small number have suffered side effects, but there's a lot of resistance.
Yeah, so, there is. I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories that people have heard about, and I think that they have a lot of effect on people, especially communities like ours. They've got a lot of effect on people. I'm afraid I think Zambia is going to stay very low vaccination rate country, which might mean that it'll be a while before we can move out of the red zone because of the low vaccination rates, which is a shame. Yeah, when we inquired about getting a vaccine, we were told only people between the ages of 18 and 64 could get the vaccine. And I was like, what about my parents who are in their 80s? And they started talking about, oh, do they have underlying ailments? I'm like, they're in their 80s, obviously. Yeah. But we got them to get the first dose, so that's a good, and it's a relief to us. But yeah, we just pray that more people could have it. But I think the resistance will continue.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and then the last question I asked was about chickens. Tell us about the chickens.
Obviously, part of the boarding diet and I think Zambian diet in general, chickens are, very
staple food.
Yeah, exactly. So and the prices of chickens have been going up quite significantly. I mean, when I think Ross and Bertie, when you were last here, we were buying chickens at 20, 30 kwacha. Now we're buying chickens at the cheapest chickens you get are about 85 kwacha. So the prices have gone up very significantly. And as part of that, and as part of just trying to be sustainable, we built a chicken run, and we had our first chicks. It delivered just about a month ago, just over a month ago. And as we speak, there is a makeshift abattoir at the boarding house, because the boarding girls are actually dressing the chickens. So basically, we're going to put them in bags and put them in the freezer. And whenever we need to have chickens, we will do that. We will just get some from our fridge instead of going to buy them at an extremely high price in town. So yeah, so it's been really successful. We've got the guy you can see in the picture, Jonathan. He went to a college it's a mission college, and it specializes in training teachers and other community development workers who want to go into Christian mission. So they go armed with either a teaching diploma or a community development diploma. And the community development diploma involves agriculture, things like what he's doing with the chickens. So we got him to come and join our team so that he can lead that side of the school, and it's seeming like it's going to be a success. The issue with the chickens is yeah, it's worked really well. The chickens have been healthy. Yeah, we've lost a few, but not many. We started with 100, and so the next set we want to go up a bit. We'll probably get 150 chicks, so we can raise them, and then we can have some for the boarding section. But also we want to see if we can maybe then sell the rest to our teachers at a more reasonable price than they can get it in town. So yeah, it's exciting, and we're looking forward to what else we can do.
Brilliant. I'm not sure that it will go way well down on the curriculum in this country to be plucking chickens and dressing them for.
No, I did send Martin a few photos of the girls doing the plucking of the feathers and the washing just a few minutes before we started.
I think we might be able to get that
have time to put them on, but
Let's
just
see
at the end, yeah. But yeah, the boarders all had to join in, just like with the boys, they had to help us with harvesting the maize, and it's good for them to have to learn to do those sorts of things, because that's such a big part of Zambian life. Although the wealthier classes tend to employ other people to do it, but it's still good for the students to have to be part of that and learn some of that and know that that's what people have to do in order to eat. So we've so I just got those snaps this morning of the girls.
Yeah, there you go. You can see
sitting outside
them on screen.
Thanks so much for getting them up, Martin. Well done.
Okay, we have a few questions. We've had one come in from Kelly. Have any Vinjeru graduates pursued teacher training and possibly be applying for staff positions soon?
We've got a few doing teacher training. I think especially the intake that Kelly is familiar with. I think we've got a few doing teacher training then, and we'll track their progress and see if maybe they might want to come back and and teach at the school. Yeah, so yes, there are some that are doing some teacher training.
Especially for their practicals, they have to do 2 practicals where they do 3 months at a school, and we'd willingly take them on here, see how they do, and then that would help us know whether they'd fit into the staff team after that even more. So yeah, that would be lovely to see the circle come around like that. Yeah,
that sounds really exciting. Yes, yeah. If you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask. You can give me a wave first if you like. Any other questions you'd like to put to Martin and Carolyn?
Just while people are thinking of questions, I don't know whether I said this in the video on staffing. We do know that with it being an election year, the government are trying to look wonderful and giving lots of employment and this and that and the other. And one of the things that was announced was that they would be recruiting thousands of teachers. It seems a bit crazy because I don't know how they pay thousands of extra teachers, but anyway, they're saying they will. And I think in your prayers, one of the things you can be thinking about and praying for us in is, staff retention is difficult, and there is this view that a government job is much more secure, longer term, and so on. And we've got people we've trained up, we work well with, we don't want them to leave, and it's always a bit nerve-wracking when we hear that the government are about to recruit, because we wonder which ones will go. So I suppose just prayer for wisdom and the ability to deal with it and cope well, and for it not to cause too much disruption to the students' learning if some of the teachers do leave. That is one of the challenges we face.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? We have some other photos, otherwise we can flick through some more photos that Martin and Carolyn sent.
Yeah, quick question. What's coming up after you've finished the boys' boarding block?
Good question. Hi, Ben. Hi, Elizabeth. Nice to see you.
Hi. Yeah. You know, this year has thrown a lot of things up in the air, in a sense, because I think for the number of years that we've been going, every January we are thinking, this is the year that people realize that we're actually a good school. And everybody wants to come to school, and it's not happened. But this year we've basically been overwhelmed by people looking for places at the school. We've really been overwhelmed. So much so that we've had to add an extra class for the grade 8s, the lowest class of secondary school. We normally have two classes per grade, and a lot of times, the maximum we can have there is between 30 and 35. Like, that's the maximum number we can have in one classroom. And we normally have had between 15 and 25. Okay, that's been our normal numbers. But this year we were so overwhelmed that we had to add an extra class just so that we could deal with the demand. And because of that, we basically maxed out all our classrooms. And even at grade 10, the other entry point, the classes are totally full. They're totally full. And so we are thinking, well, we were going to build the boys' boarding classes, and then, you know, think about other things like the admin block and all that kind of thing. But what has been brought into, you know, focus now is more extra classrooms, and so we'll have to deal with that as well before we can start thinking about sitting in fancy administration block. Yeah.
So as alongside the boarding that's going up, we're also going to have to try and put up some new classrooms, and we're trying to be a bit creative and multifunctional. And we're going to try and put up 3 classrooms with movable partitions, which means we would then also have one big room that can be used as a sports hall or an assembly hall, because we don't have an assembly hall. So yeah, Longmeadow, please, people at Longmeadow, try and help us find out more about that partition you have, or any other ways of making partitions, because we're going to have to try and do something similar over here. But it's quite exciting. It'll be nice to have a room that can be used in different ways, and then also be 3 rooms that can fit in an extra 90 students next year. That's kind of our next step, really. I hope that's an answer to your question, Ben.
Thank you. Yeah, that's an exciting problem to have, a good problem to have, isn't it? That many students who want to be at school. Okay, well, time-wise, I think we'll move on into a time of prayer. If you're not happy with that, yeah, just listen in, please. But it'd be great if people are feeling able to pray. Again, just unmute yourself and pray out loud. Some of the things we can give thanks to God for are, again, the great exam results, the good number of students, as we said, and for the boarders and all the positive things they bring. Again, thanks to God for the finances and all the the staff and teachers, particularly primary, that are getting on so well. Great to hear you're all in good health and that the church is going so well. And then I thought some of the prayer points, again, continued staffing issues. Carolyn just said about staff retention. The thing about the boarders versus day scholars, that's something we can pray about, isn't it? The COVID situation, the new buildings, and that the primary school students will want to move on to the secondary school as well. So they're just a few prayer points. You may have picked up on other things as well. So we'll have just 10 minutes of open prayer. I said, please feel free to pray out loud or pray unmute yourself as well. Yeah, don't forget to unmute if you would like to pray. And I'll close in 10 minutes' time. Thank you.